Okay, here we go. I have the 6.1 and 6.2 notes that I loaded in Canvas for you guys. Like I told you in the intro video, you can either print them out, you can do a side-by-side thing on the screen, but here's what I don't want you to do. I do not want you to copy the homework down onto paper to turn in. We're not going to do that anymore. What I'm going to do is when I get the 6.3 and 6.4 notes loaded and that video made, I will also load the test for Chapter 6. The test will now consist of about 70% problems from the homework that you're just going to regurgitate onto the paper, and about 30% of the problems will be the same type of problem, just with different numbers. That way you can watch the videos, hopefully get through all the problems that came as part of the homework, and learn enough to get through the ones that are just a little bit different, but it won't be too bad. So, I'm going to try to keep this under 10 minutes. My first attempt was 11 minutes, 53 seconds, so we got to do better. Here we go. So, first setup, 6.1. As you can see on the notes, 6.1 is about statistical significance. Here's what I'm going to say about that. That is an opinion. That is the opinion that we have established as a culture, as a science, as a whatever, that you must meet this some sort of level to be statistically significant. It is an opinion. You guys are intro students. You've already heard my opinion on opinions so far. You don't have any opinions. You're not good enough to know what you know and what you don't know. You don't really want to be, which is fine. We've been down that road before. But I'm not going to kill us time-wise making you guys have an opinion that I think you should have, because there's no point in it. If you take this class and another class and another class and you decide you might want to be a statistician, you will develop an opinion. And then it will be yours and you can have it. But until then, statistically significant is an issue because if you notice people who post studies on vaccines causing autism, essential oils are cures, things like that, those studies are not statistically significant. That's the issue that they have. It's not to say that there's not a single bit of truth to them. It is not to say that there is no one that gets helped by yoga or oils or anything. It's that you're not going to meet that 95% or 99% benchmark that you need for everyone in the medical community to listen to you. You're just not going to make it. That doesn't mean you didn't do anything, but you're not going to be statistically significant. So that's enough for one. 2 is probability. We can do that. Probability is a straight up fraction. The worst thing about probability is that it's too simple. The minute you guys are away from me and you start doing it, you think, well, that's way too easy. It can't be right. It is right. Probability is nothing more than a fraction. The piece I asked you about on top, the whole part on the bottom. So I'm going to turn the page right quick to 11. 11 asks you, what are the chances out of 2 coins being flipped that you have at least one head? How many ways can you get one head or more? Well, either it's heads, tails, or tails, heads. That's 2 choices. They're both already heads. That's a choice. There were 4 altogether. The piece you're talking about, the 3, the total choices on the bottom, 4 options. That's all you got to do. That's it. I'll come back to that in a second. The other thing on the front of page 1 is the book talks about 3 different kinds of probability. The one I just did for you guys, that's the theoretical one. That's the bottom one. That is the one we will do the most of. You tell me the possibilities. You tell me the parts you're interested in. Piece over whole. Don't make it hard. Relative ones would mean I'm going to give you a set of numbers and you're going to count from them. Subjective is an opinion. We already know what I think about opinions. I will use that one the least and probably omit anything that comes up that has to do with it. So, 11 I already explained. I did draw a tree diagram for 11 to show you what it was. It is really just a method for sorting out what your choices are. Your first coin is either heads or tails. Your second coin is either heads or tails. It helps me make a list of all my options. When there are just 2 coins or just 2 kids or just 2 dinner options, it's not bad. But when you get 4 or 5 or 10 different options, that list gets pretty big pretty quick and it's hard to keep track of what you tried and what you didn't try. I will say this also. It's not an issue on 11, but if you look at 12, 6-sided die, 6 total numbers. There's your bottom number, 6. Not because there's 6 is the biggest number, because there's 6 choices. Out of those 6 numbers, 3 of them are odd. That's 3 choices. So number 12 is 3 over 6. I would prefer that you not reduce that. I know 3 over 6 is exactly the same thing as a half. If you put down a half, I will count it right. However, if you put 3 over 6, I know that you knew what you were talking about and you just didn't get lucky. So I'm going to cruise through the rest of these, but they're pretty straightforward. 13 asked about a day in September, 30 days in September, 365 in the whole year, 30 over 365. I'm not reducing anything on the homework. 14, one correct answer out of the 5 possible choices, 1 out of 5. 15, there are 4 aces in a deck of 52 cards, 4 out of 52. 1 Saturday out of 7 days in the week, 1 out of 7. Your birthday is 1 day out of 365, 1 out of 365. They deliberately omitted leap years, so otherwise it would have been 1 out of 366 had they not, or you could have done 365.25. All those things are just nuances. 18, the note about I really don't care about the other 5 tosses. The deal with that is, if you flip a coin, it does not matter how many times it has come up heads or tails or what combination you have. Every single try is independent. It's its own thing. What happened before does not influence what's happening now. The next one, we're talking about boys and girls for kids. Now, I know, and you know, that there are families that have all boys, and there are families that have a ton of girls. And there must be some reason for that, but that is subjective or relative. In general, it does not matter that your first 5 kids were this or that or whatever. This one is either boy or girl. Those are your choices. Those are your options. Let's see. On 20, they're trying to talk to you about how sometimes it's definitely going to happen. The same 6-sided die, your numbers are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All of them are less than 10. You're always going to get a number less than 10. So that's 6 out of 6. 21, Chandler already told me I had the problem done wrong. The problem actually asks, what's the chance of getting a day of the week that does not have a Y? That's 0. All of them have Ys. They all end in Y. So 21 by the book should have been 0 out of 7. I did it as a chance that they have a Y. That was 7 out of 7. So I just did the wrong problem. 22, all of them have a D. 7 out of 7. 23 is the complement part. I'll tell you this. Compliments are the not part of it. Sometimes it is easier to find all the people who don't do what you're interested in and just eliminate them than it is to start looking for the people that do what you're interested in. In this case, they're looking for how many cards are not queens. So what I've done in my head is take the 4 queens and subtract them out of the combination. I've removed them. If you don't understand that, or if it doesn't make sense to you, it doesn't matter. Take out the 4 queens, or even if you sat down and counted the other 48 cards to come up with that answer, that is still faster than taking the whole class again because you missed a single vocabulary word. Compliments are just the not part. Figure it out however you want to, even if it is the long way. You don't have to have the shortcut because you're not a statistician and nobody's paying you by the hour. So I took out the 4 queens, at least 48 out of 52. How many are not hearts? Take out the 13 that are hearts. That leaves the other 3 suits that are in there. That's 39. 25, same deal. 4 are wrong out of 5 total. 26, I actually sort of sketched out doing compliments. I wrote all 7 days of the week. I marked out the ones that had T's. 4 of them were left. 27 I omitted because it assumes that you know that a 75% shoot rate, I believe, means 75% you make it. But see, I don't do basketball. I don't care about basketball. They're assuming that you know something you may not know. That is something you need to watch for those of you who are interested in being teachers. You can't assume your audience knows everything you know because y'all didn't grow up in the same house with the same parents in the same culture in the same way. 28, 6 days are not Saturday. 29 has 2 choices. The theoretical choice would be there are 4 blood types. It asks you what's the chance of you not being that other blood type. 3 of them are not, 3 out of 4. That is a theoretical answer. That is a straight up, you give me a list, I told you how many are on the list, how many are not. However, in the problem, it does say there's a 45% chance that the person has O blood, which means everybody else fits in that 55% left. The change that adds up to $1, the 100%. That is an actual real life or a relative probability. I will take either one of those answers. I do not care which one you prefer. Same deal with 30. You buy a phone, it either works or it doesn't. 1 out of 2. But they also tell you in the problem that 98% of the phones work. So 98%, well, they told you 2% didn't, so the other 98% have to. That's how that works. 31, I added up all the M&Ms, and then I just tiptoed through the questions. 13 of them were red, there were 100 altogether. 27 were blue, there were 100 altogether. 8 were yellow, there were 100 altogether. The 25 orange ones, I think orange wasn't listed, maybe. Or maybe there's something not listed, because I just took 100 minus 25 and said 75 of them are not orange. Let's see. 32 is a question of reduction. Remember I said I prefer you not reduce anything? You don't have the number of questions it has. It doesn't matter how many there are. It's 1 in 5 every time. If you did 1 in 5 30 times, it's going to be 30 over 150. It reduces to 1 in 5. And since all you have is the 1 in 5 for numbers, that's all you got to put. 33, I drew that tree diagram again just so you could see it. 3 kids, boy and girl option. That gives you 8 total birth orders. Birth orders, I think is what they're called. And then I just did the questions. I counted up each one that fit what it asked me about and put that over the total of 8. 34, same exact way. Except now you have 4 kids. 35 and 36, I believe are supposed to be the subjective ones or relative ones. I just took the numbers they gave me. I will tell you I'm not crazy about the problem 36. 100 years flood is really kind of a wives' tale cultural statement. It assumes that you have 1 year with a flood and 100 that don't, and we all know that that doesn't quite work. So there's 6.1 and 6.2. I'll get the other stuff loaded and we'll be good to go.